Hello everyone and welcome back once again to the online lectures of design of precious concrete through JCE Connect. So in today's session I am going to discuss about the composite structural members like the precious composite structural members. So, what do you mean by composite construction? So, in a composite construction, precast pre-stress member are used in the conjunction with the concrete cast in situ, so that the members behave as monolithic unit under service load. So, what will happen here? The precast pre-stress members, the members like girder or a beam, those were like precast pre-stress member, are used to connect with a concrete cast in situ slab. Like, so the precast members are generally like, so generally the precast members will be like a flange and a web. Okay, a flange, so this is a flange and this is a web part. So this web part will be precast. So precast pre-stress member gives a conjunction with the concrete cast in situ. So this will be cast in situ. So means it will be casted on site, so that the members behaves as monolithic unit under service loads. When the load is applied over the member, so it will act as a monolithic unit, as a single unit. Okay. So generally the high strain pre-stressed unit are used in the tension zone, while the concrete which is cast in situ of the relative lower compressive strength is used in compression zone of the composite member. So this is very important here. Generally high strain pre-stress units like the pre-stress members, that is precast pre-stress members, are used in the tension zone. So generally provided in the tension zone, while the concrete which is casted as a on site, that is a flange part. So the web part or the girder will be a high strength pre-stress unit, and the concrete which is casted on site, that is the flange part, okay, having relatively lower compressive strength, is used in the compression zone. Okay, so generally this part, the flange part, is a act as a compression zone, and the web part or the girder or a beam will act as a tensile part of the member. The composite action between the two components is achieved by roughening the surface of the pre-stressed unit onto which the precast is cast in situ, thus giving the better frictional resistance, or by stirrups protruding from the pre-stressed unit into the added concrete, or by castellations on the surface of the pre-stressed unit adjoining the concrete which is cast in situ. So here what will happen? First the web of the section will be casted. Okay, so that is this part will be casted first. Then this part will be rubbed. So that's what is given. What it is given? Rubbing of the surface. So this part will be rubbed. Okay, and over that this part will be casted to give better frictional resistance, or by there is one more option. So they have given or. So suppose if this is a portion of the beam, so the stirrups will be protrude here, the stirrups will be protrude, and it will give the better bonding between these two. So it will give bonding between these two. The stirrup provided will give better bonding between the web and the flange part. So that's why given or stirrups protruding. So by inserting stirrups into the web part from the pre-stress unit into the added concrete, so into the added concrete, so this is the added part concrete, or by castellations of the surface of the pre-stress unit adjoining the concrete which is cast in situ, so which is going to be cast on site. So for that the stirrups will be inserted to act as a monolithic section. Okay, so next, the next is, here we have this. Now these are the different types of constructions, that is composite constructions we can see. So we have the T section here, again T section, precast T beams we have, then cast in situ slab. So see, there are two components here as I told you. So this is precast, already cast T beams or girders, and this is cast in situ, on site will be casted. Okay. So these major two components, which is divided into major two parts, that is precast girder and a cast in situ slab. So one more, this is which is inverted T section, inverted T section. So generally what will happen, a precast pre-stress inverted T beams are preferred generally. Okay. So this type of construction is widely used in construction of bridge decks. So this type of construction is basically used for the construction of bridge decks, and the transverse pre-stressing also used to develop the monolithic action. See, we can see the transverse pre-stress is also used. It is tied. The girders were tied. The girders were tied. If the number of girders are there, then the girders will be tied by providing the transverse pre-stressing. Okay, and the dead weight of the deck considerably reduced by using, even again you can see the dead weight of the girders can be again reduced by providing wides here to make it lightweight. So that's what is given, light, the wides or lightweight. So the dead weight of the section can be reduced by providing the wides into the section. Okay. So this is again, and one more we have, these are the type box section types also can. So by preparing box, this can be also used in the composite sections, that is pre-stress composite sections. Okay. So next is, so this is regarding what is composite, pre-stress composite section, and what are the different types, the constructions or the geometry of the composite sections are. So we have the basically four types of, that is T section, inverted T section, again inverted T sections with voids, and the box section. So this is just a basic the geometries of the pre-stress concrete sections. Okay. So then we have, generally this type of sections will be preferred, inverted T, generally in bridge. These will be used as a bridge, the girder. Okay. Then next we are going to discuss about, that is the analysis of stresses. This is very important. We are going to discuss about the analysis of stresses. Okay. So here in analysis of stresses, the stresses developed in the pre-stressed and cast in situ concrete are computed using a simple bending theory. So it will be computed by using simple bending theory until the stage of cracking. And if the precast pre-stress unit is unpropped, during the placing of in situ concrete, the stresses that developed in the precast unit are sum of stresses due to self-weight of the member, pre-stressing force, and due to self-weight of cast in situ concrete. So this is very important. So see, it is given it as what, if the precast pre-stress unit is unpropped, if it is unpropped during the placing of cast in situ concrete, during the placing of cast in situ concrete, okay, the stresses. So what all the stresses you have to consider? The stress developed due to precast unit are summation of, the stresses are summation of due to self weight, okay, then due to the pre-stressing force, and due to the self weight of cast in situ concrete. So which all you have to consider? So for example, this if I consider, so you have to consider the self weight of girder, then the pre-stressing, whatever the pre-stressing is provided because of that also, plus the self weight of cast in situ concrete. These are all you have to consider. Okay, like this. Then so I can, if I want to number here, so this is the self weight is first, pre-stressing is 2, and the self weight of the cast in situ concrete is 3. So 3 loads you have to consider for the calculation of stresses. Then after what they are given, in case of unpropped, after the in situ concrete has hardened, when the concrete is reached the hardened stage, the whole section is assumed to be monolithic. The whole section is assumed to be monolithic, and the stresses developed due to subsequent lie loads. So we have to consider the subsequent lie load. Okay, so we have to calculate the stresses due to lie load using the properties of composite section. So we have to use the properties of composite section here. Okay, so when you find out the stresses due to lie load, so you have to use the properties of composite section. But when you consider the stresses due to self-weight and due to pre-stress and due to cast in situ concrete, we have to consider only for the bottom part of the section. So for only this part you have to consider the properties of this part you have to consider. We don't have to consider for the whole section or the composite section. Understood? Only in case of unpropped. See, the difference is here, you will get two conditions, propped and unpropped. So prop is nothing but support given to the beam, or it's a shuttering system. Propping will be provided while the casting of the if you have seen the RCC slab work. So in RCC slab, what they will do, they will support the slab before concreting. They will support the slab by props, planks, or the different shuttering system. So prop is nothing but the support given to the shuttering system. Okay. So if it is unpropped, why the unpropped is because the girder is already casted, so no need to give the support. So if it is unpropped condition is there, so that time you have to consider the stresses because of self-weight, pre-stressing, and self-weight of cast in situ concrete. And later on you have to add due to lie load also. You have to add due to lie load also, but that time you have to use the properties of composite section. So this is for propped condition, unpropped condition. But if you are using propped condition, like the girder is supported or it is propped, so that time what you have to utilize, how to get the stresses. Now here, however, if the precast unit is propped, precast unit is nothing but girder is propped, not the cast in situ concrete, only the girder is propped. However, if the precast unit is propped, or the girder is propped, okay. So generally what will happen ना, अभी यहाँ पे क्या होता है देखो, अगर आप this is a your bottom girder, like, okay, and if it is supported like this by props, different props, okay, so this will be propped condition. If it is removed, then it will become unpropped. Okay, so what they have given, if the precast unit is propped during the placing, now we have to place the concrete here, that is for slab, cast in situ slab. See, this is the cast in situ slab, and this is precast. This is precast, this word is very important. This is precast girder. First the precast girder is erected and the support is given. So if the mid support is given, because at the end it will be supported over pier, at the end it will be supported over the pier, but the middle cross, if it is given, it is called as the middle prop, or the middle support is given, then it is called as, it is a temporary support. Middle support is given, then it is called as propped. If support is not given, this support is not given, then it is called as unpropped. Okay. So however, if the precast unit is propped during the placing of in situ concrete, the stresses developed due to self-weight, of the in situ concrete, okay, developed due to self-weight of the in situ concrete are computing using section modulus of composite section. So here we have to consider the stresses due to self-weight of cast in situ concrete, that too for for complete section, for composite section. Okay. Then in all the cases the lie load stress is based on the composite section only. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, we have to take dead load also for the stresses due to dead load in composite section only. Then the typical stress distribution at various stage of loading, that is for propped and unpropped condition, it is given. So I will show you the stresses, then you can understand in better way. Okay, यहाँ पे देखो अभी. Okay, so this is the condition for, okay, this is the condition for, first condition is for unpropped. When, see here there are two parts, very important. So this is precast unit, precast girder, which is already casted, and this is cast in situ. So what will be the construction procedure? This element will be erected first, okay, and this surface will be get rubbed, or they will provide the stirrups in between this, and the concrete will be casted over this. Okay, this the cast in situ concrete, the flange part will be casted over this precast girder. Then how the stresses will develop? Okay, so as I discussed just now, so we have to consider the stresses due to self-weight of the precast beam, then the self-weight due to cast in situ slab, and the stresses due to effective pre-stress. First of all, three stresses you have to consider: due to pre-stress, due to self-weight of precast beam, and due to self-weight of cast in situ slab. Okay, but if we see the difference here, this and this, what is the difference? We have considered the stress level, it is up to only this, we can see, but for the live load the stress level we have to consider at the top of the flange, at the top of the flange. Why it is? Because it is given, I will show you, because it is given. What? I will read out once again. In unpropped condition, so this is unpropped. In unpropped condition, the stresses that develop in the precast unit are sum of stresses due to self-weight of the member. So see, this is the self-weight of the member, precast member. Then the pre-stressing force. So this is the pre-stressing force. So one by one we will see. So this is over, 2 over. Then third one is, and self-weight, the stresses due to self-weight of cast in situ concrete. So this is due to cast in situ concrete. Okay, and see, this is important now. After the in situ concrete has hardened, the whole section is assumed to be monolithic, and stresses that develop due to live load are computed using properties of composite section. Okay, so when you consider the composite section like the full section, so we have to consider the stresses from the bottom of the section to the top, because it will act when we are going to apply the live load, when we call this section as a composite section. But in these three cases, the stresses we need to consider only for by applying the stresses for pre-stress precast girder, because it is unpropped. Propping is not done, and when the live load is applied, so that time you have to consider this section will act as a composite section, and we have to get the stresses due to live load. Okay, now next, if it is propped condition, see it is given sign convention, positive is compression, negative is tension. Now next is propped condition. Okay, prop condition में क्या हो रहा है देखो, this is same due to effective pre-stress, self-weight due to precast beam is also same, but there is a change here, this and this is same, there is no change in here. But in propped condition we have to consider the stresses due to cast in situ slab as a composite section only, but here we are not going to consider that. That is a change. If you in the exam, if you get to get the stresses, if it is proper condition, unproper condition, so these changes you have to do. Only the change in due to self-weight of, due to the stresses due to self-weight of cast in situ slab, that will change. तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, what will the change? See, when you calculate the stresses due to this, we have to consider the moment of inertia of only this part, and when you calculate the stresses due to live load, so you have to consider the moment of inertia of whole section. Are you getting the point? This is the clear. When you want to calculate the stresses due to these 1, 2, 3 in unpropped condition, you have to consider the moment of inertia of only this part. But when you calculate the stresses due to live load, you have to consider the moment of inertia of whole section. that is a change, because we are considering as a monolithic or a composite section when the lie load is applied. Okay, but इस केस में क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, when you consider these two, you have to use the properties of only this part, the precast member or the precast girder. But when you calculate the stresses due to dead load of cast in situ concrete and due to the lie load, you have to consider the properties of full section. You have to consider the properties of full section. So this is a change. This is a change you have to consider while doing the problem. Okay, so let us solve one problem for to get the stresses if it is propped and unpropped condition. Okay, so this is only change you have to use for the calculation. Understood? Okay, thank you.